Hello, you are listening to the Childcare Director's Chair podcast. Your host, Erica Sakosio, invites you to join her community of passionate and inspiring leaders in the ECE field, where she discusses, reflects, and shares the best ways to invest in our children, families, teachers, and community. Because after all, we know they are the heartbeat of any successful program.
Welcome to another episode of the Childcare Director's Chair podcast. I am your host, Erica Sakosio, and I am super stoked that you are here. If this is your first time tuning into the show, welcome. If you are one of my loyal listeners, I have to say I can't thank you enough for all of your support during this journey. You guys are truly amazing. And so with that, I'd like to say a special shout out to our folks over in Missouri, California, Michigan, New York, Florida, Pennsylvania. My friends in Canada, just you guys keep showing up day after day. Maryland, Rhode Island, Illinois, and Texas. And there's so many more. And my friends in Connecticut that I had the pleasure of meeting in person last week. So yeah, thank you so much. So I'm going to get into it today. I want you to think about, if you're a parent, you'll really understand this. Think about this. A new parent steps into your childcare center. Their heart is racing. Their palms are sweaty. They're a nervous wreck. They're saying, oh my God, I hope I picked the right school, right? Because unfortunately, the media doesn't always have the good stories on there. So, parents are very nervous. They're nervous even if it's a family member, never mind people they just met on a tour, right? So let's turn that around. What if they were greeted by not just a smile, but a warm welcome packet, a friendly tour, or supportive staff that are so ready to embrace them? And so in today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about the magic that you can create so you can make an unforgettable first impression. We're going to discover how to transform nervous newcomers into excited and confident families ready to embark on their childcare journey with your childcare center. We're going to turn those first day jitters into that cozy welcome home vibe, which is what I am all about. And so many of you are as well. That's why we do what we do here. And so let's talk about the first step, which is creating that personal welcome. That first impression is so critical for families. The worst thing is when they show up and it's like, oh, I didn't know your kid was starting today, or there's not a cubby ready for them, or there's, the room is in disarray, and, all the things that happen in a classroom. Because you're in a classroom every day, or you're running a center every day, so these are real things. But a warm personal welcome really does help ease their anxieties, and it sets a positive tone for their experience at your childcare center. It shows that you value them, that you're dedicated to the well-being of their child. So I'm going to give you a few actionable steps that you can do today. Designate a staff member as the welcome buddy for new families. This person will be responsible for greeting the family on their first visit and guiding them through the center. Now, of course, many of them have already had a tour, but maybe this tour looks a little bit different. But maybe that welcome buddy, make sure the app is working for them. Make sure that they don't have any questions. We're going to send you pictures of little Johnny so that will, again, your point is to help alleviate stress, anxiety. So the more information that they have, the more comfortable they're going to be with leaving their child. So let's make sure that they have a point person that's going to meet them at the door, is going to be ready for them, is expecting them, right? And maybe the night before you give a little call and you say, Miss Jones, what time will you be dropping off little Johnny today? And so have your staff ready for that. Make a little bag. So I'm going to give a shout out to Amanda, which was one of our parents who her child started during COVID. So although we did let families in, it was very, I hate to say rush, but it was a little bit rushed. And she had shared with me, she's like, it was my baby's first day of school. And I was so excited, and it wasn't as momentous as I had hoped it would be. She told me that 3 years ago, and that really stuck with me. And, we could all make the excuses. Well, it was COVID and, she couldn't stay in. But, in hindsight, I could have done more. I could have made some type of a packet that she could have taken with her. I could have had some tissues ready because we all know the moms cry in the car on the first day, sometimes the first week, sometimes the first month when they're dropping off their baby. The moms, the dads, the families, it's hard. It's hard to do. And so we understand that as caregivers. So everything that we can do to make some of that anxiety go away really does show that we care. So based on her feedback, I thought about it and we could prepare a welcome packet that includes maybe a personalized welcome letter addressed to the family. We do send out cards in the mail, but a lot of times those go out after the child started. So I thought about maybe we could do personalized welcome letters and address it to the family and have that in the little packet. Also, an overview of the center's philosophy and programs that are specific for that family. What are we doing today? Here's what your child's going to experience today. Just something that's that extra level, again, because I believe the more communication that you have with the family, the better that they will feel about it. And any important contact information, staff emails, phone numbers, office hours, best times to reach out. Because sometimes you have families they really want to keep messaging, how's the baby doing? And the teachers, especially when you have a new baby starting in a classroom, it takes a little bit more time with the teachers and that child to help that child get warmed up. So you may not be on the app as much as you normally are, and then the parent thinks something's wrong. So, maybe you can send an update, be strategic, write it on the board, send an update. And for the directors out there, help your teachers. If you have 2 or 3, because that happens too, 2 or 3 students starting on the same day, that takes a lot because they're getting to know the child's getting to know the routine. They may not have as much time to be on the app as they normally do. And for a new family, they're holding on to that app like a lifeline, really. That's the thing that assures them that their baby's okay at this time and that time. So directors, if you can help out until the baby is acclimated and I keep saying baby because in my experience, that was, feedback from an infant parent who the child is now almost 3. But that was something that really just stuck with me. So, and we all make mistakes and we all continue to grow and we get better and better. And, that was an interesting time, but we're past that time now. We're past COVID. You could also do a small gift for a child, such as a sticker, a coloring book, or a toy to make them feel special on their first day. I think like a little stuffed animal, a little lovey is always good because that could be like their little buddy for the day too, that they can kind of hold down and feel like some sense of security. Now, sometimes they bring them from home as well, but you may have a no toy policy, as many centers do, but maybe, those first couple days to help the child feel comfortable, feel safe, and secure. A few of my friends that own childcare centers, I know they do a free book on the first day. Some do a T-shirt. We had a coloring book in our packet that was branded, and that was really fun. And so we would give those out as well. So yeah, so think about some things, and you can think about branded things. They don't necessarily have to be branded. Branded is certainly nice, but I think personalized really touches the heart in a different way. Now, you want to offer a private tour of the facility during the first visit, but you want to highlight areas such as play areas or emergency exits and explain daily routines and schedules so parents know what to expect. Now, you're probably saying, well, Erica, we did that during the tour before they enrolled. Of course you did. But now they're immersed in the school. They're standing in the building. There's things that they're going to be looking for now that maybe they weren't looking for when they first enrolled. Like they weren't wondering what the emergency policy was in terms of evacuations. Nobody's asking for where's the fire exits during the initial tour. So maybe that initial is, okay, your child is settled in. Here's their cubby. Emergency procedures. We use this evacuation crib. Here's the exits. We practice fire drills once a month. Just again, that extra level of feeling comfortable because we want to make sure that our children are safe. And that's what parents want. So explaining some of those safety features beyond, yes, we have security cameras and we have the key fob. What other things specifically for their child's classroom that you may want to point out that will give them that extra level of feeling secure, safe, and welcome. Of course, you want to always make sure that you introduce key staff members during the tour. Now, also, you want to do that on the first day. There's a good chance that there's going to be a morning person who may not be there at pickup time. So making sure that you're introducing all of the key players so that the parents feel comfortable. Of course, the child's teacher. Now, many programs have staff work on staggered schedules. So you may have a morning teacher who's in the room till 9, and then maybe they leave, and then you have your staff that are there, 9 to 5, or depending on what your hours are. But the staff don't work open and close unless you have a very short schedule. Many centers have now expanded their hours back to traditional hours. So if there are any key people, who takes care of billing? Who do they talk to if there is a concern? Do they know all of the substitutes that work in the class? Because that's also nerve-wracking when you walk in the room on day 4 or 5 and the teacher's out because her child is sick or the teacher is sick or they have an appointment or, life happens. Do they know the subs as well? When you do that, it helps the parents feel more connected and reassured about who will be caring for their child. And take a moment, too, to explain your center's mission, values, and what makes your program unique. Sharing your vision helps parents understand that the environment that the child will be in matches what the family's values are, because that's equally important. We talk a lot about our core values with families, and I always try to tie those together. When we're doing something like a family engagement night, I may say, as part of our core values, families are number 1, communities number 2. This is a way that we blend those two values together by offering, XYZ. We're getting ready to go to the local apple picking spot here in Rhode Island, the Orchard. We go every year, and that's a community place that we support, and we bring our families there too. We try to talk about how those things are important to our program, and everybody's got different values, core values and visions, but I like to articulate them. So anytime that we're doing anything in the program, try to tie that to what your vision is, because that really does help parents connect. And encourage them to ask questions. Invite parents to ask questions when they're dropping off. You want to make sure that it is an open atmosphere where they feel comfortable voicing their concerns and curiosities. And when you're new, you might be afraid to say something. You want to make sure that they really understand that at your program, feedback is welcome, not only welcome, but solicited. After that initial morning drop-off, send a quick email. Say, thank you for trusting us with your child. Again, here is the information. If you need anything, reach out. We'll be in touch at these particular times, and then make sure that you do that. And even encourage them to call, the first day or two. If they want to call in, let them call in. I know we have these apps and technology, but I think there's just something a little bit special about being able to talk to your child's teacher. Make sure that there's coverage so that the parent can talk to the teacher. Maybe that means you go in the room for a few minutes, but I think that that's important. So there are just a few tips that can really help you make families feel welcome, help them feel like they made a good choice. And remember to continually do that, because if you set the bar here, you can't then all of a sudden drop it and be like, all right, well, they're all settled in and now we move on to the next family. Customer retention is super important, but that is a podcast for another day. So I hope that you liked today's tips. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, the follow button, join our community of nurturing, empowered leaders, and let's make a difference for families everywhere and make sure that they feel like they belong. As always, it's the small details that make a big impact on the success of your childcare business. That's all for today, and as always, have a good day.
Well, all the cute little kiddos have been picked up and it's time to go home. And that'll do it for another episode of the Childcare Director's Chair. Please leave a review so Erica knows the information is helping you to manage and improve your childcare centers. Remember to subscribe to get the latest episode from Erica's Childcare Director's Chair.